Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. I trust everybody's doing well. Once again, welcome to our session, our product deep dive for the month of April 2026. We have these sessions every third Saturday of each month. Here we get to meet our practitioner as well as they share about the product and then give us the demo, which is really the key, so that way we can go and see the practical implementation and also take it for a spin on ourselves, on our personal instance. We also have a session which is the Q&A session, which we have the first Saturday of each month. Here we get to meet our practitioner and then they answer our questions. Then they provide us with some guidance or advice on our career journeys, why we continue to forge ahead within the ServiceNow as well as the IT space. FYI, I want to believe each one finished their Delta exams. The due date was 2 days past, right after tax day, so 16th of April 2026. So currently there is a new challenge. It's called the Build Agent number 2, which would allow you to use the Build Agent. Now Build Agent, you have 25 prompts that you can use, on like the initial trial version with 10 prompts as a then. So now you have 25 prompts, so you can build your apps and then modify those apps and then get that going and win swag. FYI, there's also knowledge coming first weekend in May. We are almost there. It's more like countdown now. So I believe in 2 weeks or less, we should be in it. I believe on the 5th all the way to the 7th, all there in Las Vegas. Also, as a reminder, you have that personal development instance. Go in there, take it for a spin, and then make sure that you're exploring, experimenting with the ServiceNow tool. It's really important. It's going to help you. There's a ton of AI courses there. If you take a look, there's AI build fundamentals. There's a lot of AI offerings. You can filter for that on your ServiceNow University. Your playground. Just go in there. Take it. Go in there, take it. Go in there, take it. As an FYI as well, if you have upcoming interviews, if you have any tasks that you're needing to reach out, you have a healthy community that is able to help you, whether it's within our Pan-African IT or the ServiceNow IT or the ServiceNow Africa user group. Reach out. There's a lot of people to help you. So without further ado, I will go ahead and kick us off. Today we do have a topic that is near and dear to me, which we'll be talking about. So today we will be talking about the table builder as well as the form builder. These are tools within your toolkit as you're an implementer while you actually work on the products within ServiceNow. So I will be presenting that. My name is Nnaemeka Anyanwu. So this is me, just as an FYI. Our agenda, I will talk about myself, talk about the table builder as well as the form builder, then we get into the demo. So my name is Nnaemeka Anyanwu. Friends call me Mexi Prince as well. So I'm a human brain, African American. I'm originally from Nigeria. So I'm an avid learner. I'm vegan. I love to travel, especially road trips. A technical architect, technical project manager, an agile practitioner, among others. So to the meat and potatoes, table builder, you would ask, what exactly is that? So ServiceNow has a lot of build experience or builder tools which you can include in your toolset or toolkit. So this enables you to create, design, and administer tables and data structure. So remember, at the heart of most application, or every application, there is, right? An application, like we say, is for building our business processes, right? To improve them with experiences, things like lists, things like forms, things like dashboards, things like reports, things like workspaces, and portals, you name it, or catalog items, you name it. But the whole essence about the tools there that ServiceNow has, they have them all created and build their experiences so that way it's intuitive. It's much more easy for you to really see how to design and create or build, if you will. Even that's part of why that's in the name. So the whole essence is intuitive, where you're able to take a look at, you drag it and you drop it, you see it and visualize its positioning. That way, if you need to adjust it or move it up, you are able to actually see that while you're creating it. If you're one that is much more in tune to spreadsheet, you have one of the views where you can switch it to spreadsheet, so that way it looks in that's your spreadsheet format or Excel format, which maybe you have come to love. There's a lot of ways you can get to that, which we would see. The role responsible for that, you must have a personalization role, so personalized form role for you to be able to access it. But you do have your App Engine Studio, for building applications, which you can use. Once you get in there, you're able to, once you click on, add my data or add my table, you would see it defaults to that table builder experience, where you can go ahead and start to engage with the tool. We do have a shortcut for it where you can go in there and then type out your table name. So for example, incident, which we would use in our demo, we would use other tables as well. The table name, not necessarily table label. So remember that the table name, then you put a period dot builder, just like you would do when you want to, shortcut get to the form. So table name dot form, table name dot list, table name dot, if you wanted to get to configuration, so table name dot configuration, right? Like you will, it should take you there. So you're able to do that. The table name dot view opens the view within that builder that you want to see. The table name dot sheet will take you to that spreadsheet. That's really that Excel sheet. If you're also within that experience, you're able to actually build out your automations, things like workflows, or rather the flow designer. So things like the flows, you can put your business rules, your line scripts, and others that you can use to actually control that experience. So part of the features, when you get there, you would see you do have the table name that is there. So while you're in there, you are able to change the table, so you can modify several tables within that builder. So it's not just the builder with which, either when you open it or whatever your selection is, maybe you're having to touch multiple tables. For example, you're able to actually make that adjustments there while you're there without switching or changing context. So for example, you are able to change the scope as well. So you could go in there, up as part of that menu items, you would see where you can make the adjustment for the scope. So for example, if it's where you have some components or some pieces that are within another scope. So a good example would be like the workspace view, for example. Maybe the view might be in a workspace core, something like that. You need to switch to that. You go to that scope and you'll be able to do it. Or maybe like the incident one, for example, maybe you're in the major incident view, or you need to switch to that major incident management area. When you do that, then you can be able to go in there and then make adjustments to that particular view, within that application. You can modify forms, you can modify the flows. You can also, while you're working, you can preview it, you can see how it will look and feel within the platform while you're working on it. So as you're building it and you're done with how it looks, you can try it. So it now will open in a new tab or in a new experience for you to view it, and then see what your users would see. This is it. This is how it will look. If you're filtering for it and you get there, you get the table experience. You make a selection for the table that you need, and once you do, it now opens up this so that way you can see the good stuff. That table experience, the good stuff. You can see the individual columns. You can add new fields. So remember, on the form there are fields, the same thing. So once you're adding those fields there, they become columns there. But the column name, just like the field name we'll talk about in a minute, that's exactly what the system would use to recognize it. When you're looking at applications, the same way. So if you see the ones in small letters, that's the one the system knows. Like when you're writing scripts and stuff, that's what you really need for you to be able to point to it and make that or call it within your script. Because anything short of that, then it's more of a string where it's a new addition or it needs to be appended because it will take it literal. Yeah, so we would be demoing this. What I would do is I would go ahead and talk about the form builder. Then once we get into the form builder demo, we'll get in there, and then we would have Q&A once we will drive out. So similar to the table builder is the form builder. Just like the name entails, you're using these to manage and build out forms. Forms is one of those same experiences. Like we said, applications that are made up of tables, forms, right? Automations, so things like user roles, experiences like like the flows, things like the workspace, things like the portal, so the service portal, catalog items, among others. But one of those experiences is a form. And then as you go out, you are able to actually manage or edit that form within its builder. So you don't necessarily have to, you can, part of when you're in the table builder, you would see part of its menu items you have where you can manipulate the form. So they also go hand in hand. So the better together story or one is embedded in it. So that's where you see that form builder, then you see table builder while you're doing that. So additionally, you can also get to it by, navigating through your application, opening any particular table that you want to, and then once you get to the table, you open the form. So for example, maybe you can open a new form. So the create new, or you can open an already existing record. So maybe one in a state of open or one in a state of, or you can click on the all menu, pulls it up, select any of the records there, or you can just use the shortcut. So whichever you will. So for example, you can put the table name.form. You can get to it that way. Once the form is open, it's a new form for a new record. You can click on the context menu or right click on that header. And then you would see the table builder I said table builder, sorry about that, form builder. You see the form builder. You would also see form designer underneath, which used to be the go-to prior to the form builder being available. The only thing with that is, which we would see on the designer one, the form designer one, the issue with it used to be with the context switching, where maybe you're within a particular scope and you're needing to switch scope. You needed to go to the platform UI, and then change the scope and then come back to your table builder to do the work. So a lot of times that's why, developers would have that recourse to opening the experience or the form builder in a new tab, which it already or which it will already do, or duplicate the tab so that way they don't lose a focus of where they were. Maybe while they were still working on it, because you would not have access to the fields if you're not in the right or the correct scope. We're going to see it once we get into the demo as well. So whether you're trying to build sections, add new fields in there, you can do that there. Even for fields that in some cases you need to get to the platform and it would show you, it gives you additional actions like things like reference fields in there. If you are wanting to be granular, to actually control visibility on those, you could, on that form builder, you would see where it says for you to open it to now show you the platform view or the table view, for you to make those adjustments. So just like the table builder, you see form builder features, you have the form name. So you first thing you have is the table name. Then you would see the form. So for example, you would see the manage the view. The forms would let you know, okay, you're working within the form builders one. You would see, then it lets you know, okay, what views do you have? You can manage those views. So maybe it's the default view, maybe like major incident view, maybe workspace view, maybe other views that are there. So you can also, add your UI policies, client scripts, business roles, all of that kind of good stuff. The scope is there too as well. You can manage it. All of this is all the builder experience within, like we have that UI builder. That's many a time what all of these look like, because it's all drag and drop. Nice and easy, yes. So that's the image for which you would see this is within table builder that you see the form builder. So once you go to the form section, then it shows you that form builder. That's where the form experience is, where you can see, okay, this is your, the default section of the incident form, and then you start to see. But this is the form. So here, this is form builder in itself, where you can see you're in the default, you can see the policies and rules, you can see also the scope, you can see that preview action. So you can see undo, redo. So you can add different components there, which is different fields that you can add, different types of fields. That's that. So yeah, I think it's demo Q&A. Okay. So this is the good part where we will jump into the demo. And then I'll pull that up really quickly. So I will pull up my ServiceNow instance, the personal development instance or the build experience. I am in the Zurich release. So just as an FYI, in there we'll start with the table. So the table I'm looking for is the incident. So I can go with table builder. So I'll do table builder. So part of App Engine, you can click on it, it will open up. You will see the table builder experience, it pops up. I can make my selection of my table here. You can see that what is information. So you're creating and configuring your field and its properties, customizing views, or setting up any other logic. So you can see examples that are there that I recently took a look at. You can go ahead and type out that name of the table. As you're typing, it starts to filter them. Once you are done, you just click on that and it opens it up for you. You can also do this, which is you can type the name of the table, but you need to know the name. So for example, incident. Let's do this. Let's do table. Let me just do that instead. Table. Okay, so underneath tables, we have system definition tables. So we can see the names of the tables. So these are all the tables we have in the system. But this is a label which is user-friendly, what we see. But this is what the system needs to see. So incident. So this is the incident table. So this is what you need to call. If you're wanting to look for any other table, the same way you do that too. Just as an FYI. So just in case when we do that, that's really what it is. Let's say I wanted to call story, for example. Let me call story. So RM underscore story is the name of that table dot builder. Takes a couple of minutes. It should take me to that builder for the story table. That's it there. So just as an FYI, I already have incident here. That's why I didn't use the incident table. You need to know the table name, what the system knows it to be. That's why. Okay. I'll go to come back. Go back so that we have it. So within that table builder, you can see that, right? You can see who's using it or who's logged in. Here you can see properties in here for the table builder one. You can see an advanced view for it. You can see form designer, right? You can see how to delete that table as well. So you do have that filter option. You also have those filters here. You could view, inactive fields. You can hide fields. So here it tells me already it's showing one of 20, right, of 103 fields that are there that are active true, basically. Now it can tell me how many you can have in a page, 10, 15, 20, or 50. The more it would remember, it's all about the experience. So for loading and all, so it's in optimal for that 20. You could add a new field there. You could add a new field there. So you can see the column label. So even though it just narrows it down to you for you to know, remember on your list, which is this is how your database looks. This is fields, right? Yeah, they are individual, they are columns once they come in the list. Rows represent one record, but just remembering how that looks. So within the form builder, or rather within a list, that's what that is. But here you can see once you add that, it pops up whatever column label you have, then whatever the lowercase spelling of it would be. And then for any space you put in between, there would be that underscore to connect the two. As you add, you're able to make selection of your fields. This is the list of all of those fields, the same way you see it in any of the, whether it's the list when you're adding or whether it's the designer when you're adding. These are all of those fields. Audio fields, yes or no, true, false, calendar. These are choices, color or conditional, strings, data structure, due dates, all of that. You can see date and time, list, so reference or multiple within that choice, HTML types. These are all of them. So whatever selection you want. So let's just let's do one for table builder. So we'll just say table B. Okay. So already you can see you underscore you created it. You underscore you created it. So string, you can change the value for the string. Maybe you wanted it defaults to 40. Maybe you wanted it to be something much more than that. You can make that change there. So maybe I want it to be 160, just something. Just as an FYI. Here, we looked at the table. So here, this you can change to any table here. So let's say you were working on incident and you needed to work on the major incident, maybe. Let's do problem. Let's do. I'll do problem, sorry. Let's say you were working on incident and you needed to work on problem. So you can make the selection. You can see it tells me save your change before leaving. If not, it to discard that. So I want to discard, so I'll discard it. So it takes me to the problem table. It switched. I didn't necessarily have to go back here, change the problem, and then no, you're working within there. Can do the same thing. Here it allows me to work on the data. So for example, if I didn't like this view, I could change it here. So I want it to show up as a spreadsheet instead of field view. Shows me spreadsheet so that I can go ahead and add, shows it to me as a spreadsheet. So another one is like we talk about there. I'll change it back to fields. Is the form. So that's where it switches to the form builder interface there, right? Within that table builder, like we talk about embedded in it, right? That we talk about better together story. They complement themselves. So the same way you would have it is the same. Like within that form, you can go ahead and add. You can add fields. These are already existing fields. You can add them to any section you want to in there. You can do that. You can build new sections as well. You can build new sections. It allows you to do that here. Let's say you are working on the default view, right? Maybe you want the service operations view, service operations management for a problem. You can see them there, right? So service operation workspace view, you wanted to see that. But it also tells me that I need to be in this application for me to modify this view. Now that's why you see that everywhere is grayed out. All you need to do is this you need to go here. So that's the beauty about here. You're not having to leave back and forth, right? That's context switching. all I need to do is look for the particular application, which is problem management for that. So open it up. You can also, if you were wanting not to leave there, you could also edit it in its original scope, which just means temporarily, especially if you have that SN util, it will switch the scope for you. But I want to go to it, so I will do that problem management to service operation workspace. That way it becomes available to me once I apply it. It moves there, moves there. You can see it allows me now. So the same, can add new fields there. In there, you can also do that there. So you can add a section there, or in here, you can drag it. So for example, let's say you wanted to put a field in anywhere. All you need to do, if it's a new field, you add the new field to your table. That field shows up in the list, then you drag it there to whatever location you want it to be in. So these are 85 fields, 2 components. You can see notation and section. You can also see formatters, an embedded list. So it gives you that capability. Gives you that capability. While you're in there, you could be privy to work on flows. So for example, if there was a need to put any automation, this is it. Adding a new flow, it starts to open for you to build that flow. It's within your table builder, right? You don't necessarily have to go nowhere. But if it's a form builder, table builder, you're getting to do it. Huge stuff. Very huge stuff. Very huge stuff. Very huge stuff. Okay. So you can also add the flow that way, or you can click on it, so it shows you that. Well, anytime you see this, that's what you're able to do. So here, under the form one, you can add a new form view. You can duplicate the current view that you're working on. You can also go to configure the related list, which will show you within that UI 16 experience or user interface 16 or earlier, the actions as well. But you can see it telling me we are within the default view. There are over 29 views, so these are all of the views here. These are all of the views here. And that's not all. That's not all. Okay, that's incident. Okay, that's why I'll go back to global. Then I'll apply it so that it pops up. That's not all. You can click on policies and it starts to show you the UI policies, access controls, client scripts, business rules within that table. So the incident table, the most used and abused. Workspace view rules, you can see those there. You can see those there. You can see those there. So, and the beauty is, like we talked about, while you're working, maybe you wanted to see the whole full view list, right? Which will show you that backend, that platform. You can see it. We'll show it to you. To show it to you. So also maybe while you were working, for example, let's say you were working on there and maybe you were working on the form, or you were working on the list. Maybe you were working on this particular field, for example, you can see it will give you that pointing, or while you're working on your form, you make a selection for a particular field. So let's say we'll look at a reference field 1. On here, you can see these are specific to this table for that particular field, but you can see the option to go to the full dictionary entry, which will show you like it will on the back end. So it will give you the full table view like you would on that UI. So it will get, so you're not missing out anything. So that way you can get it for sure. So that way you can get it. So it's all there, whether you're trying to build a dictionary override or whatever. Yeah. Or you wanted to go modify an existing override, whichever one you wanted. It allows you to do that. So it's a beauty. It helps you, tells you, okay, changes here is specific to incident because we are working on the incident table. But ideally, if you're wanting to look at those related tables like we talk of, you can go there, make those change to a different table and then work on it so much more. If you wanted to preview it, let's say we added a field, let's say drag and drop, it's drag and drop, put it. You can see it once it shows that plus. That's it. Drag and drop. You can see it shows that, you can see it can give me the option to undo it, right? We talk about it could have been to redo it. Maybe I take it out and I want to put it back. Gives me that redo option. So preview, I can preview it. That way I would see how it looks. So you can see components not configured, then it loads it. So it shows me how it will look. Then if I want to, I can also open it in the platform. How to look in that backend. Yes, you can. You can. It allows you to do that. It allows you. Especially when you're making your work. Especially when you're making your work. So similar to that is what we do have for the, so I will undo it. I don't want that. So the form layout so unchanged. Just use the undo. Like if I wanted to redo, do the same to clock it to put it back there. Similar to that, we have we had seen the rules, I believe we did. Yes, okay, yes. We did see the rules. So we can add new rules. So UI policy, access control, can add them here. Just as an FYI. So similar to that, we also have the capability for the form builder. We've seen it already as embedded into the table builder, but on its own as well. So this time we would say, let's say we go to the incident. Let's say we open the incident, whether it be incident new or whether it be the incident open. You can do it for any table. I'm just using incident the most used and abused. Okay, so it's not like you can do it on any table. You can either right click on the header to get to configurations. You can also do the same here as well. You can see it. The builder would pop up the same if you were doing the designer as well. It will pop up. So before the builder came, the designer, this is what we used to use. But it now tells you to go to that builder. So you can see the limitation. You don't have the change to the global scope. You can't see that there. So for now, I'm in the right scope. So that's why this is available to me. Let's say like we did before, we looked at the workspace view, for example, you can see it's grayed out, right? It's, if you are not conversant, you would not know that that's the only reason why you're not in the right scope. You're not in the right scope. So just as an FYI, this is still there. You can change whatever table you're wanting to work on and stuff. That's still there. So just comparing them, for you to see. For every other thing, these are all of the fields that you have, right? That are already available, fields and formatters. But if, for example, you want the custom field to build in there, go there. These are all of the field types that you can drag and drop and modify to suit. These are all of the field types, yes. But this is the old one, right? But that's that form designer. But here is the builder, which is what you just saw, right? Form builder, that's it there. So even while we're looking at the other one, when we said it's been embedded in the table builder, yes, under the forms, that's when it shows you the form builder, like we talk about. When it's the same, change the table as you would like. You're already working on the form, so if you needed to put a new field on that form, yes, you add that field. It's going to be filled in the table. Then you based on the table, then the fields that you select start to show on that form. Because there are different ways. Can change the view. All the list views are there. You can add new views there. Same way like you would on the other one. Yes. Same here too as well. You can add a new view. You can duplicate. It allows you. There's so much you can do. So much. You can do that too. Like we talk of different controls that you can have. That's that scoping. You don't want the global scope, maybe you're in a different scope, a related scope. You need to go there without leaving. And you preview it same way. Same way. You can add a new policy. It's as simple as that. You put what the policy is, put the condition. That's how the field is. You add the field, whatever you're needing, you add them there. You want it to be mandatory. You want components. 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 From while you're working on your policy, these are the advanced view. When to apply it, when not to. Components. So that UI builder look experience, yeah, these are part of your build tools where you have this within your toolbox, to make your life easier, especially when you're, implementing or you're building or you're doing what you need to, right within the tool. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Out there, configure. You can go in there, like we talk about, configure table. You can do that as well. Get in there. If you go to the bottom there, you can see form builder, right? You can see it. Like we talk about, see the designer, right? But this is a design form. It's not form designer. The form builder is the other one. It's the form builder will pop up. That's it. Pop up. Different ways. Different ways. But it's all there to your advantage. It's all there to your advantage. This is the list. This is how the database looks like. Yeah. Same way. You go there, you configure, you can see the list layouts, but also you can see workflows, you can see flow designers, right? You can see the table in itself, right? We talk of go to a table, go out there, form builder, form designer. They're all here. When you're done within there, you're able to preview it. Prior in the day, back in the day when it was just that form designer, or the design form one, you come here and show the form when you're done. But now everything you can preview, you can build, you drag and drop, it's easy. It's all there. It's all there. So do we have questions? Do we have concerns?
Hello, boss.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please, I wanted you to show more clarification on that area where you said if you are not comfortable with the platform, you might not know if you're in the wrong scope or not, that you may probably pay out or not.
Okay, sure. Great question, Ken. So here's the thing, right? A lot of times, like we talk about, the scope is a container that captures applications and properties. So if you build a custom application, you might be in a different scope. So you need to always switch it back to global. And then when you're working on an application, if you are requested to change, because it will tell you with messages like this, these alarm messages or these notifiers, they're letting you know. So, but in some cases prior, it doesn't do that, like we talked about. So here you can see I'm in global scope. It's incident, it's a global scope application. So if I was to work on the incident form and I'm using the form designer, right, it will be accessible to me. But the point is this: if I am new to building or working, I would not know that here there are other scopes that I can choose from based on the applications that I'm signed up for, because some components are in a different scope. Like we looked about for even the incident, for example, or problem, for example, where once we change it to a different view, so let's use the incident, for example. I think we did workspace view, for example, right? I think this is incident, right? No, this is table, the table objects. Okay, so I'll go to incident. Yeah. So this is incident. I think the last time we chose this, either workspace or even service operation workspace, you can see that this is grayed out. If you do not know, right, this is in a different scope. That is the reason why. But if you were using that form builder, it will let you know. For example, when they change our table to the incident, change the view to that service operation workspace or workspace. So it does tell me that I'm in a different scope. Here, tells me. So, but if I was here, it's not letting me know. I need to already be working within the space or within object to know that this is because I'm not in the right scope. Imagine when I was here, right? I could see it. But now, when I go to that different scope, whether it's major incident or whatnot, I cannot do anything because I'm not in the scope. The same here. This is telling me. So for me to do that, I just need to change it here. So service operations, so I'll look for incident service operation workspace. This is incident management for service operation workspace, and I apply it. So now it will allow me to, can see it here. I can now put new fields there, or add new fields or move existing fields, whichever way. It allows me to now go inside and make changes because I've gone to the right location. That's what that scope is. I'm able to access it here now. Now that I made that change here, it's just like me changing it in the platform. So if I do this, I should have access now. You should see the new save, and you should see those buttons. You should. You can see now, you can see with that SN utils, you can see it says switch to scope of this view, global, right? You can see it. So just as an FYI, incidents, and then you can see now, because I'm not in global, you see that it's grayed out. Now, if I go to the service operation workspace, it allows me. So that's the point. But if you, that's the major reason why some of these was actually introduced. But if you did not know prior, you would not be able to make that change or adjustment. That's the key there. That's the key. So that's why it's only somebody that has been building for a minute that would know, or that, kind of like has worked with databases before to kind of like have an idea, for the most part. But great question. That's really all that it is. You can see still in the global here. You can always, make that, change back to applying while you're working or while you're doing what your job is within your space. Yes. Whether it be the form builder or table builder, whichever one you're working on, you have that full capability to be able to make that adjustment. Yes. But great question, like it. Great question. Great question. So, do we have any other questions? Because otherwise, happy building. Hey, go there, explore. Go there. Like most implementers, you have your mouse, right? Control right click, or right click on the almost any interface. You would see, controls there. You hold down the shift key or control key, and then do a right click, like you will. You will see that. But go in there, get into that table builder, get into the form builder, start to really engage with it. For sure. It makes it's two additional tools within your toolkit, to make your designing forms or designing your tables or other components there, whether it's UI policies, business rules, flows, within your forms really easy. Just like you would when you were working on either the table or the form, where you would go to the context menu or additional actions menu, and then you go to the whether it's the table or the all menu, depending on what you're trying to do, or the particular menu item like notifications or flows or whatever. It's the same way, but here everything is in one encompassing tool or builder experience. So whether it's the table or form builder, you're able to create the views, create automations, preview them even while you're working, right? So that way you can see how your users will interpret them, or have them experience it while they're engaging, so that you can make adjustments based on that feedback. So thank you everyone for sharing your Saturday with us. Couple of minutes, the video will be out, and then also my contacts as well, so you can always connect. Don't hesitate to do that. You can remember we said grow your network, so that way you can get more to do with it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Thank you, boss.
You're welcome.